The sun was just beginning to paint the British Columbia sky. For veteran trucker Mike Thompson, it was another routine run. His rig, loaded with essential supplies, was pointed north. Destination Alaska. He'd driven this route, the Alaska Highway, more times than he could count. Today, something was different. As Mike approached the familiar border crossing, a new sign loomed ahead. New commercial vehicle toll ahead. He blinked. Toll? Here? He hadn't heard anything about a new toll. He slowed his 18-wheeler, a sense of unease settling in. He pulled up to the newly erected booth. A uniformed official stepped out. The explanation was brief. The price, however, was not. It was a significant sum, one he hadn't budgeted for. Mike paid the toll, a receipt clutched in his hand like a notice of a new unwelcome tax. The news spread like wildfire through the trucking community. Canada had implemented a new toll. It specifically targeted commercial vehicles, primarily U.S. trucks, using the Alaska Highway through Canadian territory. The fee, reportedly several $100s per crossing, was substantial. This wasn't a minor adjustment to an existing fee structure. It was a brand new levy, imposed with little warning, on a route that had been a toll-free lifeline for decades. Trucks carrying goods from the contiguous United States to Alaska or vice versa now faced an unexpected financial hurdle. The impact was immediate. Canadian officials offered their rationale. The government of British Columbia stated the toll was necessary. They cited the increasing costs of maintaining this critical piece of infrastructure. The Alaska Highway, they argued, sees heavy use, particularly from large commercial trucks. This traffic contributes significantly to wear and tear on the roadway. The revenue generated from the toll, they claimed, would be dedicated to the upkeep, repair, and improvement of the highway. It was presented as a user fee system, a way for those who use the road most and cause the most impact to contribute to its sustainability. However, the explanation did little to soothe the anger and surprise among U.S. truckers and logistics companies. The Alaska Highway is not just any road, it is the principal land route connecting Alaska to the rest of North America. For many types of goods, there are no practical alternatives. The sudden imposition of the fee disrupted existing contracts and shipping rates, throwing business plans into disarray. The relationship between the United States and Canada is often lauded. It's described as the world's longest undefended border, a partnership built on shared values, deep economic ties, and generations of generally peaceful coexistence. Billions of dollars in trade flow across this border every year. People move freely. Cooperation on many fronts is the norm, not the exception. For many, the two nations are more than just neighbors, they are indispensable partners. This idyllic image, however, sometimes masks a more complex reality, one punctuated by periodic disagreements and trade disputes that test the bonds of friendship. Despite the overarching amity, trade has frequently been a point of contention. These aren't new phenomena, they are recurring themes in the bilateral relationship. Alaska stands apart, a vast and resource-rich state, yet geographically isolated from the lower 48. This separation presents unique logistical challenges. While air and sea routes play their roles, ground transportation is the workhorse for a huge volume of goods. The state's economy, its businesses, and its residents depend heavily on a steady flow of supplies trucked north. From groceries that stock the shelves of remote communities to construction materials needed for vital infrastructure projects, trucks deliver the essentials. This reliance makes any disruption to the land-based supply chain a matter of serious concern. The Alaska Highway, officially the Alaska-Canadian Highway or Alcan Highway, is the backbone of this overland transport system. Built during World War II for strategic military purposes, it has evolved into an indispensable commercial artery. It carves a path through some of North America's most challenging and remote terrain, connecting Dawson Creek in British Columbia to Delta Junction in Alaska. For many communities along its route, and for Alaska as a whole, it is more than just a road. It is a lifeline. The official explanation from British Columbia's government centers on road maintenance. Premier David Eby has publicly stated that the funds collected from this new toll are essential. He argues that the Alaska Highway, particularly the sections within his province, requires significant investment to ensure it remains safe and reliable. The argument is that heavy commercial traffic, much of it U.S. trucks servicing Alaska, contributes disproportionately to the wear and tear. Therefore, a user fee is a fair way to ensure these users contribute to the upkeep. This narrative presents the toll as a practical solution to a logistical problem. However, in the complex world of international relations and trade, actions are rarely viewed in isolation. Skeptics and those directly impacted wonder if there are deeper political undercurrents at play. The timing of the toll, implemented on June 1, 2025, comes after several years of sometimes fraught trade discussions between the US and Canada. The immediate and most tangible effect of the new Canadian toll is on the cost of transportation. Trucking companies faced with this sudden new expense have a difficult choice: absorb the cost and reduce their already slim profit margins, or pass it on. For most, especially smaller operators, absorption is not a sustainable option. This means the toll will inevitably be factored into shipping rates. Consequently, the price of delivering goods to Alaska will increase. This isn't a minor fluctuation, it's a direct, added cost on nearly everything that travels north by road. This financial burden will ultimately be borne by Alaskan consumers and businesses. Alaska already contends with a higher cost of living compared to many parts of the contiguous United States, largely due to its remote location and the expense of shipping goods. This new toll exacerbates that existing challenge. The price of groceries, building materials, consumer goods, and even fuel could see an uptick. This new Canadian toll on the Alaska Highway is more than just a line item on a shipping invoice. It represents a new point of friction in the often complex relationship between the United States and Canada. While both nations emphasize partnership and cooperation, incidents like this highlight underlying tensions and differing priorities. The toll has, for many, shattered the perception of a seamlessly integrated North American transport network, at least along this crucial northern corridor. It raises fundamental questions about sovereignty, shared infrastructure, and the principles of fair trade and transit. The immediate question on many minds in Washington, D.C. and Alaska is, what will be the U.S. response? Will there be diplomatic efforts to persuade Canada, or specifically British Columbia, to reconsider or modify the toll? Could the U.S. explore retaliatory measures, perhaps imposing similar fees on Canadian truckers in specific strategic locations? Such actions could escalate tensions, leading to a tit-for-tat scenario that benefits no one. Alternatively, there might be calls for dispute resolution through existing trade agreements, though the provincial nature of the toll could complicate such proceedings.